enthusiasts did not want to see railways disappear. You've got to bear in mind we were brought up in the steam era, and when we had proper railways, right back to the Ellen Yard, LMS, Great Western, Southern days properly. And we'd always been steam people. And then this idea came up, you got, unfortunately, all my friends who I got to mention are all passed away. And this one's still standing, so to speak. And we decided, what should we do? It started with modelling, still does, and so on and so forth. Let's get a bigger one. And we looked around and thought, what should we do? We had plenty of ideas, plenty of enthusiasm, and not a penny between us. So that was the basis which we started. So we started looking long before Llangollen had been heard of, not preservation-wise. And we all met once, started in the Fox in Harden. And then we moved to the Oak in Flint. And we became hence the Flint and Deeside Preservation Society. So we started looking around, where should we go? We'll go to Dizzes. I won't go into all the ins and outs, but we couldn't go there for a number of reasons. Cost. And of course, BR then raised its normal head. You're not doing anything. So then we moved to, had a look at the Ruddermowing branch, which was the Denby branch, in other words. Now the track was still in, as far as Ruddermowing, principally because of the MOD factory, which it's still there, as you know, but they still had to, by law, keep the track. And then just beyond the factory is a level crossing, still is, and it's privately owned, and under no circumstances are you ever going to bring a railway back up here. And then they took the track out right from Mold Junction onwards. So that's, and then we came here and had a look, and we walked the line right from God knows where now. It was a long time ago. And it was, as you know, owned, still is, by the Denbighshire County Council. And straight away, BR raised its, you've got to bear in mind the infrastructure was still in. That big marvellous bridge down by the works, which is now not there. We could have got there. And we tried to save the track right through the next station and so on. They put a gas pipe up the middle. And of course, BR, as normal, I don't know if you know the layout, but when your track comes from here through Trevor and it goes down to what's known as Llangollen Lines Junction, and it runs parallel to the existing line for quite some distance into Llangollen. And I said, under no circumstances, once again, you're not going to even think about putting lines alongside our lines. And that was the normal attitude of BR in every, and they don't, to this day, they don't know how they did help us without knowing. We'll gloss over that if you don't mind.
And so did you all kind of, when you kind of came down here, you couldn't go towards Ruaben, what made you go, oh, well, let's go the other way? So you walked the line and did you go, we can do this?
The tunnel. You've got to bear in mind we all had jobs. We were, I hate the word, but amateurs, if you know what I mean. And what we then had to present a good face to the county council. And we had a lot of trouble there. I mean, everyone will have been passed away now, but this was the highways. It had been taken over by the highways department. And the reason for that is, in those days, prior to what you now know as the A55, was going to come through the town and cross over by that red brick house called Lyndhurst. That was why it was purchased and left empty. It was going to be demolished. And we did get the okay to come on here by a single vote. I won't go into that because obviously Brian Chappell and all that, he's passed away. He was part of the county council's business, you know. So anyway, we got it. We had the lease given us.
Yeah.
And in it was the statement that we had to do the first mile to passenger carrying standards within 5 years. Otherwise, we laughed at that. God, with 5 years, we'd be there in 5 minutes. And we had to put into this lease that we would be responsible for $250,000. What do you call it? We had to put an indemnity, I think is the word, I don't know. And if we got beyond Lyndhurst, it would be the counties, or the Ministry of Roads. If we didn't, we would have to buy our bridge. We'd have to finance it. In the event, of course, it didn't happen, and the A55 went where it is now. So there was that much protest about it, because it would have ruined the town, you know, and so on and so forth. So that then said, okay, we're here, now what do we do? So I managed to get a bulldozer, and we had to, because you could walk from one platform to the other without dipping down. So I started digging. You've got this, if you look at, you've got pictures of me actually on that yellow bulldozer, clearing onto a trailer. The trailer we towed with the Met Land Rover and got rid of it. So I got it level like a village would get it right the way down. And then I started digging the bridge at the town. I kept digging and digging until I couldn't dig any further, because I thought we'll go through here. And we didn't get through, but that's why it's hollow now. Our lease ended at this face. There's been work on that since, of course. But so now what we're going to run our trains on, because we thought, I mean, this is 50 years ago, and we were all on 15 quid a week type of things, you know. I know I was. And we thought rail, sleepers. Right, what should we do? And fortunately, one of our long gone members, John Short, worked at Courtaulds in Flint. And they managed to get some old rail. Do you want it? Yes. Okay, so I then managed to acquire my Arctic unit, and I managed to borrow a 40-foot trailer, and then nobody knew either. Down to Courtaulds, loaded it up. I was just saying to Pauline now, I said, coming over the horseshoe, I said, can you imagine I came over here in horrible weather in an Arctic loaded with railway lines. Down into the station, well, to the road, backed down what is the ramp, and then drove down what is now the dock, then backed up to what is now the track bed, dropped them off, and then reversed it, took the trailer back, took my unit back to Stanlow into the shell there, and that was that. Sleepers, what we're going to do about those, right. So, remember Alan Terry?
Yeah.
Well, Alan and I, never late, out of our own pockets, borrowed a wagon off Hertz, I can remember it now, went out to see another Gordon tight sod. He was a scrap merchant who lifted this trail. Gordon Parks, who lived in Oswestry. How much do you want for them? And we bought our own sleepers back. And that was the first 30 foot. And we hammered him down, and we made some fish plates. Well, they're not good. but bearing plates, you know. And it's gone on from there. We had 30 foot, and that was it. I've got a picture in there of me offloading Aliseg onto that 30 foot on the day before we were actually eaten with Barry Jones. I've got a press photo of it in there. It was the day before.
And what happened on the day that you opened?
We were too busy trying to make sure things didn't come off the lines or things like that. I mean, Robin, the type of people, I'm one of them, that were doing that with the picks, the shovels, the hammers, the bolts, and so on. We're not the sort of people, still not the sort of people that go, thank you, my lady, thank you, my lady, you know, I'll leave that to him, so that sort of thing. He's better at it than me. So, but don't ask him to fire up an engine. Let's face it, the day you came, you know full well what I'm going to say. The day he came, it was the first day that we had this bright idea of giving locomotive footplate experiences. The very first day. And it was, we had Foxcoat Manor and me alone. And that was it. And it was you and Lady Di.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about Lady Di.
Yeah, she's the other one gone.
She's gone, yeah.
Yeah, you managed not to kill her though. That was quite you managed not to kill her. That was quite an achievement.
But that was it from here to the D Bridge, wasn't it, and back. And God, he'd been here ever since. Can't get rid of him.
No.
So on that opening day with that 30 foot of track.
Oh, this was much later.
That's much later.
Yeah.
I was going to say that.
That was a lot. I didn't come here till 89.
You didn't come here till 89.
No.
So
That is a story in itself, but we'll come to that, no doubt.
and that first day when the gate opened and everybody came down, and there's footage of that, isn't there?
There is, but yeah, I've got it was Barry and it's Elaine, I think it is. Well, it's now Lord Barry, of course, Lord Barry Jones, and I think I told you I have a bit of fun with that really because Barry was in the next desk to me at school.
Was Bill's there? Bill?
Yes, that was Bill the Paint.
No, Bill Shakespeare.
Yeah, Bill the Paint. That's all we knew of that.
Oh, right.
But he came down and said, what do you want me to do? And we said, well, can you paint? Oh, yes, paint that. And everything was either painted chocolate or cream.
Yeah.
You see, and that was what Bill did. We just called him Bill the Paint. And that was it.
Did you? But didn't you have to? You had to get a mile. So where's a mile from the station? Is it up to the bridge, or is it?
Yeah, there would be. I'd probably incorporate that bridge. But the thing is, that bridge was uncrossable. It had rotted away. You could see the wall. You know, we tiptoed across it. All that was left was the central balks, which went like that and like that and like that. We had to. That was one job we couldn't do, and we got a company called McTay's, a big engineering company, and they came and re-steeled it. You know, it was but beyond that, you wouldn't have known there was a track. It was completely forested. We walked up and we found a signal, and it's there to this day. One signal in amongst the trees, and then you go further up. We come to a wood mill. Malcolm's had his wood mill on the track.
Yeah.
Just under the bridge. I'm not bothered because you'll never get up here. You won't have a railway up here anyway. Suffice to say, we did. They moved, and I always think of that. And then obviously on and on, the rest of it was a pipe dream. What we wanted to do was get the platform length and then put a point in. But of course, then we said, well, we haven't got any ballast. Now what we're going to do? I thought, right, okay. I went further towards Wrexham on the main road, and there used to be a council tip. So I went in there, up there, and I looked at the track bed. I thought, oh hell, there's a lot of ballast here. Right, okay, let's recover it. So I did, and I went to Jones of Rethyn. I had a word with Dennis there. I said, have you got some better tippers? Yes, all right. How many do you want? I said, well, 3 or 4 will do, and a shovel. So we cleared that area out there of all the ballast into the wagon, brought it out, and I tipped it literally opposite here. There was about 500 ton I brought in Bedford, and that's what's down there now. And then there was a lot of problems came after that, because this is what you know as a blue route, or the Great Western called it a blue route. The Manor was the heaviest loco that we could have, and that was a 17.5 ton axle loading. That was the highest. But we had to then, of course, we had to have a big inspection of the whole line. And Peter Olver came down, and Major Olver. He was, in those days, we had one inspector of railways, HMRI, isn't it?
HMRI, yeah.
And that was Peter Olver, and he inspected the entire country. We were no exception. You carry a passenger, you obey, you know. And he said, I want this, want that, and then he brought in a surveyor, a civil surveyor. I mean, the bridges and things like that, you know, because we wanted to go heavier, which we did. I mean, it's a shame we've had giant Scotsmen here, but that's
26 ton axle.
They're much heavier, and we rebuilt these bridges. And we learned how to build them. You know, we had to get lead and this special stuff, acros and things, and we rebuilt all these bridges. They're not bridges, but they're culverts, but they still count as a bridge. And you have to.
Where did you get all the finances from? How were you raising money, or were you just beg, stealing, and borrowing?
Well, there was a great amount of that, but no. The big job that we did was going around the entire area with a little wagon. There's a story behind that, collecting paper. The whole thing was done, as I said to you earlier, that where we just been was absolutely, we stacked the paper, newspaper, which we put together and sold, and that was what it was.
You recycled paper, newspaper.
Yes, yeah. There wasn't a paper left in the whole town, up the hills, up there, everywhere. We went round.
And who did you sell it to?
That went to this place in Otter Street, Potters.
Is it still there, gentlemen?
Yeah, have you seen their wagons?
Yeah, I thought it was the same, but
same people, same people.
Yeah.
So we did that, and then we had you must have seen pictures of the thing, the trot. We rigged up a little trot, like a collection, right by the bridge, and people used to throw pennies over. That's how we did it. You're surprised what we caught in that. Yeah, big square thing. That's all we had.
Unbelievable.
And the rest of us, these sleepers that Alan and I, we paid for out of our pockets. The coal we did, because we still had a coal merchant here. And I said to you the other day, you don't remember, there was a petrol garage on this corner. Shell PP petrol garage. Yeah. And the goods, the houses weren't here. Our yard was it, all of it. And you've got to bear in mind, when we came here, it was still operating. The gold merchant was operating. Literally, like the weighbridge here. And inside the shed was full of peat bales, a hell of a lot, you know. And bear in mind, as I said, the floor wasn't the floor, it was up here. And the 2 cranes either end in those days, they were still there, wooden cranes. You can still see where they were if you look. You know what you're looking for, and that's how it was. And the other sheds, which are not there now, we took them down. You've got the big shed instead. Me, Dave, and Tommy, we built that further part. What is now your main shed? We built that ourselves. Same as Patrick Welling, me, Harry, Mr. Bond. We built that ourselves, and a train. That's what we did, literally. The only thing we didn't do is put the roof on. Dave got somebody from Bombers Deal to do that. Sheets and things like that.
These
We got grant aid.
Eh?
ERDF grant aid for the shed. We got some grant aid for it. The European Regional Development Grant.
We say the shed itself was from Swinton. That was from Swinton.
So opportunities to pick up second-hand infrastructure. Where did you hear about these things? Were there gazettes?
No, everybody knew everybody. We were in a different era, an era that, you know, at your age you couldn't imagine today. It was still, we were still railways.
It's all word of mouth, wasn't it?
Still railways, you know. We weren't having any of this cutting off. Beaching hadn't even entered it yet. You know, it's well, they probably had, but there was still a lot of resistance to scrapping. You know, it's still to this day, isn't it? I mean, how many times you must have heard a great Western man walking in and they're finding an LMS span there. It's wonderful.
Oh, aye.
Yeah. To this day,
It was on, yeah.
to this day, you
Yeah.
know, you won't believe that.
Yeah.
The loyalty that railways imbues in people, you know, it really does. And, you know, the politicians will not destroy that.
No.
Yeah.
I just like that's a really good point Alex was making, because I think it's different now. So now they have Facebook, so people communicate. So you can communicate with people very quickly. A lot of people very quickly digitally. Whereas you guys were on the ground and you were working with, and there was. I understand now, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Like there were people who supported you locally, and there were people who didn't support.
Yeah, well,
there was quite a lot of resistance, wasn't there? For you to...
tremendous amount from BR, from not the BR, the drivers, the fitters, the PR. No, the Derby, the people that worked in Derby.
Yeah.
The accountants and the. You see, there was.
Why? Good. I don't understand. Sorry, I don't understand why. I tell you why. Because you weren't anything to do with the red main.
No. But
you were here and you were going that way, and you were doing it on your own back, your own time.
But they would not allow contractors to sell us any form of wagons or anything whatsoever. A scrap merchant could go there and buy a locomotive for £1,000. If we wanted to buy that, it would be £4,000, and indeed was. You know,
I had a case. This is actually done sort of early days in Chester, where there was a wagon repair workshops being closed, and I was tipped off, as you were in those days, by somebody here, and Andy Max was involved in this in the early days. Anyway, I went to the site legitimately, you know, wandered around and tried to find out. There were some wagons parked up on a section of track there, including some old Great Western wagons. And I spent ages trying to find somebody who basically owned these. And eventually I was directed to this porter cabin and knocked on the door, and a bloke came down and explained who I was, what I would do, and I got a mouthful of abuse from this bloke. I don't know, I told you this tale. And he basically said, "You've got some nerve coming here." So what do you mean? And he was referring to it was a Callum, who was a PUA man that used to live at Calgary, we call it John Stowe.
Oh, Stanley.
Yeah, who was a BR PUA employee, you know, manager, and I think he sailed across to the wind. Right.
I think that's an understatement.
And what had happened? One of the things he did. That by this time there'd been a sort of computerised wagon control system introduced in BR called TOPS. And he had managed to remove these wagons' identifications, so this is who owned them.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, the upshot. I mean, when I said to him, he changed his tune because I was truthfully able to say, "Well, that's all before my time." Oh, by the way, John Still's dead. Oh, is he? Oh, sorry. He's changed his tune then. But, and this really annoyed me, those wagons got scrapped. They cut the line at each end of them, and they were scrapped. And that's
That's
well,
what
maybe 30 years ago now.
we were up
That's
against.
what we were up against. Yeah.
If, like Gordon, we've got this scrap merchant here who lifted a large part of it. If he'd been found selling to us anything, even if it had been a screw, he would have had his contract and he would never have got a job with BR again.
No.
Oh, they were dreadful because they didn't want to be shown up. You see, the other thing you've got to bear in mind, this here was the first, what they call today, brownfield site. No tracks, no nothing, and the first standard gauge in Wales. It had never been done before, and you'll never do it, you'll never make it. And that was how we worked. That was the umbrella on which we were working. Everything was Severn Valley, Severn Valley, Severn Valley.
Yeah.
Severn Valley thought they were it, and they went all over the country, mainly here. They stole from here, and I say stole every mortal thing that could be stolen, and plus what couldn't have been. We've found a lot of it since. Our water tower was one, and they never even used it.
No.
That was.
It's quite interesting. I'm trying to kind of understand. So you couldn't go to the scrap merchants.
No.
So kind of Severn Valley was kind of everybody was like, oh yeah, we'll deal with Severn Valley, but we won't deal with Llangollen.
No.
Where did you go? How did you get the gear? Where did you get the gear from? Because I think there's a bit of a story there.
There's probably a big story.
Well, what I sort of inferred about John Stow, as a case in point, we had another volunteer here, young lad.
Oh, Batman.
Oh, did you? Exactly.
Batman and Robin.
Batman.
About that,
Yeah, Batman and Robin. And
names should not be used to protect the innocent, or not so innocent.
And he was another source.
Right.
Yes.
And it's as recent as when BR was getting privatised, the stuff that suddenly appeared over here.
Oh, it did, didn't it? I mean, all right, with what was Batman, Robin, and Dickie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could have seen me with a very large wagon parked outside the wall at Lime Street with sleepers coming over, I said too much.
I mean,
he had a porticam at Batman. They had a porticam. I was walking past.
It's just here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was walking past one day, and I'm not a bloody engineer, but I happened to look and sort of as I walked past the open door, Jesus Christ, because I recognised what was in there, and it was a laser measuring device, which was probably worth 20,000 quid at least at the time. And I had a word in his ear and I says, I don't want to see that in here when I come back again. And he did get, I'd say he got rid, it went from here anyway.
I'll tell you something else that appeared here. Nothing to look at, well it was, but we wouldn't have done anything without it. Cables, drums, occupier cables and things like that.
Yeah.
And they're down there now, to this day. That links all the signal. You couldn't have worked anything without this stuff. I remember pulling it out. Yeah, we pulled it with an engine. That appeared. I mean, it didn't put them in your pocket. We're talking about 20-ton of cable.
Yeah.
And so on. But there we go. It happened. I mean, we probably, like all our signals, as I told you, I brought them all from Beaconsfield. Tony Parkin bought them, but he bought them a whole lot for a £5 to say, I've got a receipt. And that came from Beaconsfield. We did a lot like that.
with that kind of in mind, that how did you? It sounds a bit like you were all kind of pushing in the same direction,
Yeah.
but everybody was kind of doing their own thing. Was there like a collective like decision making process, or was there? Did you just keep going and whoever turned up, and you did that work for the day, and the track moved forward, and I presume there were operational days as well.
In those early days, that's how it went.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
it.
mean, I'm sure you and I've said this. I've said it to my lot at crew often, that what you and I and the rest of us did 25 years ago was brilliant. It was a fantastic time. You couldn't do it now.
No.
You wouldn't be allowed to.
And it's that annoys me. Why can't we? You know, all take that. Oh, I'm here, don't I?
I'll tell you why. Do you know the health and safety record for people being injured at work is worse than it's ever been?
Of course it does. Well, I'll tell you what.
It's not your age or my age, it's the younger people coming up behind us.
How long ago? It wasn't that long ago. God, 6 months maybe. Those truck workers.
Yeah.
They had to have the earphones, health and safety, ear muffs or whatever. You know.
Yeah, earmuffs.
So they couldn't hear the train that came and hit them and killed them. In those days, there'd been somebody working. There'd been a bloke, the trumpet, and a flag. Would they not? That's it. Look out. So simple. Realise, you know. Oh, it makes me.
Yeah. I think it's also a different time because there are more people. I mean, so, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. It feels like at the beginning, and certainly up until kind of 2010, 2012, there were a lot of volunteers involved with the production of getting the railway as far west as possible.
Yeah. Well, it was Project West.
And the majority of those people, whatever jobs they came from, had a very strong practical bent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which you do not get now.
Yes, they were craftsmen and tradesmen.
They all were.
And all kinds of steel and iron and and all that. And they were mechanics and engineers.
That's right.
And it's funny thing, we already knew a lot. I mean, I was not in this job, but I knew exactly how signals worked and how to do them. And the likes of Fred and I, we did all the signals, did all the everything, all the interlocking and everything, because we've known from that high how things work. I knew how steam engine. My father took me and showed me when I was about 4 years old. This is how pistons and this is how an engine works. It didn't suddenly come like that.
No.
I think you're young and I think you've missed an awful lot.
Absolutely.
I think you really have.
I was telling you.
It's the excitement.
What about this young man?
Eh?
What about this young man? I'm not saying.
I know.
Well, you haven't.
Because when we were kids, well, most of us, or most of our families, we didn't have cars.
Oh, good God, no.
So and I mean, train spotting was the thing.
It was.
And I mean, you get jokes about it now, but do you know what? There are things you learn through doing your train spotting: history, numeracy, geography, mechanics.
Yeah. You look, take the LMS, take your Jubilees, your locals, the names. Do what they are? Solid Rhodesia, and so on and so forth.
To this day, I could remember looking up in the inanimate Bechuanaland.
Yeah, these were local names.
Yeah.
Look at the western, the castles. Well, where's that castle? Where's Foxcote Manor? Where is Foxcote Manor? It exists.
Yeah.
You go on my side, the eastern side, and you see the trains going, and on the roof boards, the Flying Scot train, King's Cross, Edinburgh, Waverley, or the Harrogate Pullman. Now, where's that? Or go on Euston, the Royal Scot, or the Caledonian, Euston, Glasgow. Where's that? All of them, like the Southern. What's the Atlantic Coast Express?
what I've said for a number of years is that for people of your generation, the railways were your connection to the rest of the world.
Yeah,
It put you in context,
Yes.
and it did that in a way that I think the formal education of the day just didn't, because it was about before time again. So it didn't put you in the world, as it were, but the railways did.
Yeah. But this is where us youngins came. I mean, you've gone on the end of the platform. You know, you heard of us platform enders, King's Cross, and you know the excitement to see, because do you know King's Cross? Anyway, there's the platform, 100 yards, and there's the tunnel, and you heard it. What is going to back out that tunnel? You saw that corridor Thames coming. Oh, it's an A4. It's coming on to this, you know, and then you look up, and that driver he was king, you know, not like they just press a button, but that, you looked, didn't you? You looked at him with awe, you know, and so did the top management. They recognised their drivers, no more so on the Western. You know, they were sir, you know, and there was no messing about there. And they got there. How had they got there? They got there like that.
Yeah.
Working their way up.
And learning all the time.
About what, 6 weeks ago, something like that. Well, no, go back right way back when I was about 14 or something like that. I was good mainline station was Stirling, and we used to gather us lads by the water column on the up train, because coming from the north. There were no water troughs north of Stirling, so they would get water there. So we stood there, train would be stopped, and the fireman out. And if you were lucky, you might get, if it was a decent ride, do you want to come on board?
Yeah, you might. And that was a privilege.
And I can remember why particularly, because I did it it was Blue Peter, the locomotive. And it was a shedded at Dundee then, and it was always kept in superb condition.
Yeah.
6 weeks ago, I was a locomotive services and crew. I was with a group on being at Shona. What's there? Blue Peter. It had been out. It's been refurbished. Had a bloody £1 million or more spent on it, and I related it. Would you like to go?
Yeah. Peppercorn
and I did, and you know,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
I got quite emotional.
Yeah. This is the thing with the steam engine. They're a living thing, you know. It's large or whatever, and this is what brought these. You know, this is what we wanted to do. What we couldn't have done then, we'll do now.
And that's what brought the people together, was the engines.
It is.
The love of the engines.
But you see, that is fading away, either through age, and as I say, out the original half dozen, I'm the last one left. I showed you that photo. Everyone was dead, bar me. You know, it's very. This is going to happen.
What was it, with all the things that you did, and all the things that you had to overcome? What was the biggest hurdle, or the one that sticks in your head where you go, oh God, actually that was an absolute nightmare, and it could have finished us?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Which of it you just lips blue? I'm so sorry, James.
You said about the resistance from BR leadership.
There was before my time. There was local resistance as well.
Well, the BR resistance was just bloody mindedness, to be honest.
Yeah.
They were determined that nobody was going to show them how to do it.
Is that because
they failed? I mean, they couldn't run the show.
Privatisation.
Yeah.
It's because privatisation was on the wall there, and they were fighting that.
I mean, they say privatisation. That in itself is not a problem, because they were private. L&L was private, LMS was private, and they worked. And before that, the London North West and so on were all private, but they were run by railwaymen, not politicians or civil servants. They were Roman through and through. I mean, and they were proper people, weren't they? You know, the top directors, you know, all of them. You know, when you start rolling off Sir Williams down here, you know, Sir Nigel Gradley, there were people that, and then you came down and you got the Roman had said, well, if this train, our train, LMS, came into this station, let's make sure that the LMS train comes in at the same time so that they can go from that to that.
Yes.
Not just miss it by 2 minutes. The chart, have you ever seen a chart?
Well, yes, I mean,
They go like this.
Yeah.
They're very, very clever. Very clever indeed.
have you?
Yeah.
Did you not, talking about problems, did you not have local problems as well here?
Here, they were dreadful.
That's what I mean.
I can tell you who they were.
Miss Anderson.
Well, the biggest one, of course, is Pearson.
Aye, I was coming there. But there was Miss Anderson behind the station house.
Yes.
No, there was
Miss Anderson.
It wasn't Anderson. It was
Miss Armstrong. Miss Armstrong,
yeah. Dreadful.
And she's gone, obviously, now. Bill's claim to fame was he got into her bedroom.
Alan Terry managed to get into her bedroom, yes.
And then
I mean, we're talking something. She's about 70 odd.
the people, the family, they're still there. The undertaker.
Oh, John.
Rosa.
It's all right.
It's his wife.
He's here, John the Coffin. No, well, he is an undertaker. No, he's a builder, but his wife. Oh, she's dreadful. I mean, once we emerged on the platform down there, they put their fence was the platform, you know.
I know.
And then we got rabbits down here.
Yeah.
Because you've got to bear in mind those houses weren't there. And the council, Bill gave that land away. Yes, yeah. Oh well, yes, all right, you can have that. I mean, I don't want to talk about Bill now because he's gone, but I'm always well, they got permissions, or they got
You're in a bargaining.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. But no, people. I mean, the times I had to bring a wagon outside with sleepers on it. Oh, you can't park that here. But right opposite, she was dreadful. And what I found, what we'd found, the most disappointing, most annoying, if you like, call them generally speaking, the Chamber of Commerce, the traders of the
local chambers
of the town.
Yeah.
Because you've got to bear in mind, Llangollen died around about October, and it woke up again about Easter. In between time, absolutely nothing. And we started being here, and the Santas, unfortunately, I'm responsible for the first one of them, but that's another story. And we really started livening the town up. But my God, could you get them to stand up and say, we support this railway? Right. No, not a peep, not a peep.
No. Now
they played out when we were shot.
We think of these days Llangollen as a tourist town.
Yeah.
What was it like back in those very early days? Was it still?
It was a dead place almost for retirees.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't interested in this. All right, in the tourist season, people did come. I mean, that's why the platform, if you look, been extended.
It's so long, yes.
It's so long, and that is why Pennsylvania existed.
That extension you're talking about.
That's where the rates of truck coaches used to go.
I mean, that extension you're talking about 1890.
Yeah, that's in the Wakes.
And yeah. So you by the time of 1975, the town wasn't an upstanding economy. It wasn't.
It went very run down.
It was because people didn't want anything else.
No, and I mean the buildings. I mean the corn mill was a ruin. the main hotel over there was really shabby looking.
Oh, it was. And it didn't work anyway.
No.
At the time, it didn't work.
No.
Wheel, it got restored. But, and the little cafe, it's hard to describe. This was not just a collection of people, not just a collection to build a railway. We were a family, weren't we? It had this. I always say that if the railway was bricks, we were the mortar. Like the Bob Jakes. Let's go over there and try and make sure you were there before Gordon Heddon, who always got the best strawberries.
I know. I had a reputation, didn't I? Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we don't forget.
But
no, seriously.
We talked about this recently.
Can we we'll get this bit of track on right, and then across to the Jenny on it, over to the Jenny.
The Jenny.
Before that we went to
the bridge end.
The pub. No.
We did. No, we went
to the bridge. In between the pub. What was his name? He had a dog. We used to go there every Saturday night, didn't we?
Oh,
yeah. I think his name.
Yeah, I can't think of it.
It was a good. We had the weekend on a Saturday. We had a really good social life.
Yeah,
I used to enjoy coming here.
We take the big event, the ice level. We all took the week off. That was booked, no matter who you worked for. That was it.
And we ran choirs to the
come down. I've got a couple of flags, something, banners and things. They're recording on the BBC. Used to come down with the choirs from the world, or like get this choir from South Africa to sing on the platform, and they did. The whole thing. We were part of it, not the side of it. It was part of it. And I can't describe that because I'm not very good at it, but it was. We were part of it, and it was a wonderful period. Yeah, we really did. But yes, families were. Look at Andy here. Andy was a little Todd in his pushchair. I pushed him around. I keep threatening to push him back in it if he doesn't behave himself. But that's the sort of thing we're on about.
Yes.
He was 5, 6, something like that.
So would you? On a positive note, then, what would you say you are most proud of in this? What do you look back on and think that was my great achievement?
Well, I know one thing that they used to pull my leg that Austin won. Which bless her heart, she worked for 4, 5, 6, 7 years pulling the passengers, and I've always got my leg pulled. That was called your Flying Scotsman.
Yeah.
What did we have in the end?
Yeah.
Scotsman.
Yes, we do have
and above all, an A4. An A4.
Yeah.
So yes, that was an achievement. But we've had so many little achievements. The time when David Shepherd came.
Joyce, didn't he?
Wonderful. The biggest friend of the Queen Mother he was. I don't forget, he gave us a talk.
Twice we hired the hall at the time, and he
had some of his pictures.
Yes, but I've still got one of them actually. But
I have.
He talked. Well, with a break, he talked ad lib for 2 hours.
Yeah. Do you know who I'm talking about? David Shepherd, the artist.
I have heard of him. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, he owns Black Prince.
Oh right.
Yeah. But unfortunately, David's gone. It's the way. But Black Prince, the 2/8, which we had here, and there's a film of me actually somewhere, I don't know where, that 2 filmmakers did the whole day with us when I had the engine and David with me, and it's somewhere, I don't know where, but and it was at the time when Green Knight was here. Green Knight is green engine, and he had come in with remember that we did the midday bell. and it come in with. And he was very excitable, David. What an artist! You know, the man that paints elephants, you know, I think. I've got it. And he brought as an exhibition his big original painting, Stoke. It's about that big. He says, "Oh God, take that." And I was walking up the street with this, worth I don't know how many million. It's his original framed. You couldn't buy it. I believe Hoskins got it.
Has he?
I believe so. I'm told.
Right.
Peter Lundy told me.
Right.
I'm sure he's got it. Well, he's got everything about it.
I know.
So I'm walking up the street with this whacking, and he'd gone on ahead. I've got to see me, and she's got to. And that was it. That's the sort of people. That's the sort of events that we had. You know, we didn't think. Well, we did think anything of it, but it was so different. I can't imagine today. You know,
It was relatively easy to get something like that, wasn't it?
Oh
And,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
I mean,
they wanted to come.
well, I mean,
Well,
I
David
think the
said-
second time he came, it was me that
I've got
arranged
some
it.
lovely
and I-
letters off him.
Yeah.
saying what a. In fact, I can show you one day if you're interested. Dear Gordon, blah blah blah, with his with his wildlife headings and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
I have never seen black prints driven so well. He's literally put that. I've got that at home.
Do you think once it's quite interesting you kind of say, you know, it feels like Llangollen was the poor relative of all the other heritage rungaways at the time, but it feels like once people have come here,
Yes, that is.
they fall in love with it.
Yeah, because
Yeah. We always used to say, didn't we? We are at top of the second division.
Yeah, but as I think I said to you, Ivy didn't always call us a siding. Ivy Riley always called us a siding in North Wales.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right for him. He had his track done.
I
I think
know,
these
I
things
know.
was all done. But
Just something that comment you just made, I've mentioned this. Was it you? I just mentioned this already. I've mentioned this to somebody here today. About I feel like a reputation. We lost it, but it's come back. This was a very friendly railway. Both to ourselves and our member, but to the visitors as well.
yeah,
And this is what I was recalling this morning, or earlier on, that I think it was a shed tour I was giving to some people. When there was half a dozen or so. There were 3 middle-aged gents there. They'd been on the train and that, and we got back down talking on this. And they said, "What a fabulous day we've had. We'd like to become members." So, right, yeah, no problem.
yeah.
And so got the details from them. And this is a bit they're staggering me because they said why they wanted to become members. This is a brilliant railway. They're so friendly here, so much better than the railway we're on. So, where are you then? We're directors of Severn Valley.
Yeah. This is it, because I don't, you weren't here, Joel, but I think I've mentioned before that one day Malcolm Draper came, not the Malcolm down here, that's Malcolm X. No, remember Malcolm Draper, who was the boss of the Severn Valley in its heyday, really. I'm not sure it is a heyday anymore there, but anyway, and he came down and went on the train with Jakey, and first trip I drove. I went up there, came back, and then the second trip, I don't know how we do it, but I went on the cushions with him. And he was grinding his teeth. He said, I can't get over this railway in 2 hours. And he made the offer that if we would incorporate we'll supply the motive power, you supply the railway. And Shaker wouldn't hear of it. He just turned white. You know, and that's what I don't know if you knew that. Malcolm would have, because we only had Austin 1 at the time,
Yeah.
And that's before even Derek, he brought that's all we had.
Yeah.
And anything else we'd hired in. Oh, what did we hire in? Oh, Prairie. That was a Seven Valley Prairie.
Yeah.
And he said, we can do that. He said, we can't hold a candle to this like for viewing. And that was as far as we went. What he talked about it today, right through to going, I shudder to think. And equally good, if only we'd still got the wine and dine.
I know.
It was a magnificent.
Years later, I don't know how many years later, I had another session with him.
Did you?
I was sitting on the seat at the box down here. It was a nice day like today, just sitting there.
Yeah.
This bloke comes and sits down next to me. I think he must have known me, and he probably introduced himself. And I think by this time he'd been in trouble, Anyway,
Yeah.
we didn't touch that. Anyway, he just said to me, "I can't believe what I'm reading today." He says, "What do you mean?" "I never thought this railway would survive," says he. And we chatted about things. And one of his comments, which I'm in a funny way sort of identify with me, I think he was referring to what had happened to him. He said something along the lines of, to be a good chairman on Heritage Railway, you need to be a benevolent dictator, which is what he was.
Yeah, because we're all different.
Yeah.
We're all different, and yet not different. People are moving on. I mean, how many people now, these young guns with their dibs, I'm not talking to you, but that's all they have. I mean, who wants to be in a pit at 5:30 in the morning, water dripping down your neck, shoveling ash out? Because being a driver or a fireman, it's not the big booming bloke at a gleaming engine on a platform. It starts 3, 4, 5 hours before that, and it's still on the go 5 hours after.
Yeah.
Not, I'd love to be a driver. Okay, come on there. That's the reality of it, and people don't want that. They want it ready for them. Oh, thank you. And even then they wouldn't know what to do if they were on it.
No.
I remember a certain person, not too far away, came on the engine one day with me, and I had the Jubilee, and Pete Evans was on the Black 5, double-headed.
You look at me. I remember that day.
We went a bit quick.
It was a good day, that, wasn't it? It was a good day, that.
Jubilee, yeah, that was Colliver. I had the Jubilee and Pete Evans was on Black 5. I mean, what? Two.
It was non-stop.
a Class 5 engine.
It must have been a Gallic because it was non-stop. It's a non-stop.
Oh, it was non-stop. We went right through the lot.
Yeah,
It was a mixture of black and white.
No, I wasn't white. You were. Yeah.
Gents, I just kind of been talking for nearly an hour now. Yeah.
Well, I just want to win.
I just kind of wanted to. I think Alex, we were talking, and Alex kind of said, "What do you guys? We've had all this. It's 50 years. What do you think about the future now for Llangollen Railway?"
It's got potential, but could you equally say what do we think of what the world's going to be?
I have.
In which this railway has got to operate.
I'm not just Llangollen. I have concerns for the whole Heritage Railway movement, and it's the cost of operating steam. I know running the pannier with 5 coaches on 3 times a day costs more than the full complement of passengers. You can't operate at that forevermore.
No.
Well, you diversify, but even that, and unless we can get somehow this country producing its own coal, we're in the shit.
Well, we could.
There's more coal under the ground than was ever mined. Yes,
I know there is. We're talking, 500 quid a tonne in round figures, and it's what I said.
I bought about 4 months ago. Yeah, it was before Christmas. A one-off it was for a little coal tank we had at the Heritage Centre. It was a static, and it was going outside, and it was a 70, and it was being handed over to the Bahamas Society officially by the National Trust. And I came up with a bright idea. Well, why don't we have it in lights and steam? Good idea. You go and buy the coal. I bought a ton of coal, 1 ton, 700 quid.
Yeah. Right, again, because that wasn't in bulk. But equally here, I've said, please think. We all want to see the Pacific, the big engines. I was referring to the 280 here, the 38. I said, that's designed to hold 1,000 ton. And I said, it will take you, I reckon, because I know what I'm talking about, that will take you somewhere around 4 ton, the time from the Friday evening to light it to the Sunday when you put it out. And it's all, 3 coaches like that, 3 or 4 coaches. And what's that cost you? I said, because you can't have half a firebox. That is a 280, and the firebox is the size of this room.
Yeah.
You can't do a little bit. Equally, would Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy and Johnny think any more of that? They wouldn't know, oh, look, there comes a 38. It's just something that goes toot. Austin 1 will go toot on a bucket of coal and take the same coaches.
Yeah.
Why?
Takes 3/4 of a ton just to light up.
So you can't do half it. Yeah, I reckon rather do about 4 ton. I reckon, because I know I've fired the thing often enough, and it is the firebox the size of this, and whereas lost in one, it's a personal thing, but I don't think we should hire it. I think we should use it here. And because little Jim and Johnny, look at it, oh, it's a bright green engine, it goes toot, it smells hot, and it's got smoke. What's the difference? Because once they're in the coach, they doesn't really matter, and it'll still go puff, 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 and still go toot. Am I wrong?
No.
No. That's what I think. It's a personal. I would never let it go.
No.
The suburban coaches, if you want everything posh and so on, you can go to a BR station and get that. What we can provide here, you can only get here. And what do people come out for? Something,
Do you think it'll be here in 50 years' time?
Well, I know I won't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Honestly.
I would hesitate by saying yes if the national park goes ahead.
Yeah, but 50 years, the rails will have gone. Who's going to replace the sleepers they'll have brought, and so on and so on. Pure deterioration of the infrastructure. I won't last. It's 200 years old now or thereabouts. And who's going to look after it? Who's interested in look after it? That's what it's the people in 50 years or more worrying than the thing itself.
Yes, what you're saying is there's none of that kind of those heritage skills coming through, like we were saying earlier.
No.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that's kind of what we're saying is there aren't those skills. We need to be teaching those skills because those skills, whilst they're not mainstream,
no,
actually, and especially with the world as it is at the moment, actually they're really important. And they're really important because even if you do like an old-fashioned engineering, where you don't do it all on computers and then it spills out, but if you actually come and do an engineering kind of course here, you've always you understand how it works. So it gives it. So we've got people who got your skills.
I've just been talking to Dave Picketty. Now I know Dave. Nothing about in the machine shop.
The good days we did apprenticeships here.
That's what we're going to go back to.